Tonight, a new solar project, one of the biggest in SA, touted as the benchmark for the rest of the state's energy facilities. And preparations ramp up ahead of the recognition of part of the region's traditional owners.
This is Southern Cross News with Fraser Goldsworthy.
Good evening. South Australia's biggest solar project and battery storage facility near Robertstown in the mid-north has been given the green light. Hundreds of jobs are set to be created throughout the construction process, with stage 1 of the facility expected to power up to 90,000 homes. Rachel Nell explains.
The solar project is setting a high benchmark for the rest of the state, with over 620,000 solar panels expected to line 500 hectares of property near Robertstown. The $450 million Solar River project will include a 120 megawatt storage battery during stage 1 of construction, with more storage facilities penned for stage 2. It'll be built 30 k's from Robertstown, just north of the Goyder Highway, in a bid to minimise the visual impact on the local community. Up to 400 local jobs will be created during the 2-year build, which is scheduled to start at the beginning of next year. 45 full-time jobs will also be on offer for the 25-year life of the solar facility, including apprenticeships, traineeships, engineering and management roles. The facility is expected to boost the local economy, and local roads will be upgraded to improve safety during construction. Once all construction is complete, the solar facility could potentially have the capacity to deliver cheaper electricity to nearly 450,000 homes across the country, if the state government's proposed interconnector gets the green light as well. Stage 1 is expected to be generating cheap electricity by the end of next year, with the solar project up and running by late 2020.
Rachel Nell reporting there. After 20 years, 3 court battles and millions of dollars, the Bangala people of the Eyre Peninsula will receive their native title at a ceremony tomorrow. Lawyers representing the group say it'll be an emotional day as the first owners of the land finally get due recognition. John Hunt has more.
Behind me here tomorrow, over 2 decades of painstaking work will come to fruition, with the Bangala people receiving native title over the region. A major ceremony will be held here to officially hand back the land to its traditional owners. Preparations are underway for the ceremony, which will be attended by leading political and business figures, including Premier Stephen Marshall. The fight for native title began in 1996 and was finally resolved in 2016 through the courts. In between, the Bangala people have been through a great deal, including fighting the government and other communities over whether they exist.
The former government didn't accept the Bangala evidence, exposed to a lot of urban encroachment with regional centres. This made their anthropology fairly unique and so ultimately much more complicated.
The title covers large parts of the Eyre Peninsula, stretching from as far south as Port Lincoln all the way up past Port Augusta. While urban residents won't see a lot of change, the native title will have a significant impact on Crown land and land outside of urban areas.
Bangala have certain legal rights over that land, and if things are proposed to be done to that land, the Bangala need to be engaged.
The ceremony is expected to be tinged with sadness, as many involved in the case have passed away.
We'll be having a moment in the ceremony tomorrow to really try and honour those people, but it's going to be very emotional.
Organisers say tomorrow's event is open to anyone who wants to witness a small but significant piece of history. For those that have waited so long for this victory, tomorrow certainly hasn't come quick enough.
John Hunt reporting there. A man's been arrested following 2 break-ins in Whyalla earlier this month. Between 7:30 and 9 p.m. on Wednesday last week, a home on Cartledge Avenue was allegedly broken into. Police say cash and some property was stolen from the premises. Overnight on the 17th of June, a local business allegedly had its window smashed in with cash and property taken again. Following investigations, police visited a Whyalla Stewart home last Saturday and will allege they found a large amount of suspected stolen property inside. A 43-year-old man was arrested for theft and unlawfully entering premises and was bailed to appear in court at a later date. The new Liberal government has launched its $150 million Regional Growth Fund to help boost economic growth in regional South Australia. The first applications will begin in July and is open to businesses and community groups with up to $2 million worth of funding on offer.
It was an election promise and now it's been followed through. The Regional Growth Fund is set to bolster the local economy.
It's there to look at ways that we can enhance commodity sectors, enhance the industry. It's about growing our regional communities.
The Marshall Liberal government will allocate $15 million a year over 10 years.
That program is to give a long-term commitment to the regions, to give them certainty to plan.
With many exciting business ventures poised to drive growth in the region, the funding is being touted as the fuel for new opportunities for local entrepreneurs, giving them access to government money.
While at the same time employing more people and giving greater opportunity to the regional workforce.
Regional development officials believe the dollar-for-dollar scheme can help a business that can't always find that first buck.
There's so many great people in the regions that have got great business ideas but just need to get some sort of stimulation economically to grow that opportunity.
The main principle of the application is for new projects supported by the funding to benefit entities outside the business. Regional Development says this is a prime time for businesses or community groups to think about their future.
This is a wonderful program and we welcome it with open arms, and we'll be encouraging as many businesses and communities to participate in the process as best we can.
Garth Burley, Southern Cross News.
After the break, a unique energy saving system switched on at SA Water's Mid-North workshop. That's next. SA Water has flicked the switch on its new Crystal Brook energy trial. A solar photovoltaic and battery storage system is now operating at the Crystal Brook SA Water site, aiming to reduce its running costs for customers and increase its energy self-sufficiency.
Helping SA Water achieve its goal of having zero net electricity running costs by 2020. The $10 million trial is already producing some positive results.
Been switched on for about a month. The results are really good. We are in a situation now where we can save about 30% of the electricity that we consume on site.
The aim is to keep prices low in order to reduce the costs passed onto water customers. The technology will allow SA Water to use locally generated and stored energy at its Crystal Brook depot when electricity prices are high.
About 100 kilowatt of solar installed, which is about the power that we need on site. And we've got about 50 megawatt hour of batteries. So the batteries are supposed to even the load and provide power when we need it.
Crystal Brook was chosen to pilot the program due to its great proximity.
This site, we know that the efficiency is good. We know that we will get a lot of sun, and the orientation of the buildings were good.
The trial will run for at least 12 months to determine how effective the battery storage facility actually is and whether it will be rolled out at other sites across SA.
She is to get to a zero net energy cost by 2020. So it means that we will be installing a lot more of these solar panels, but also storage technologies.
Rachel Nell, Southern Cross News.
As Broken Hill councillors prepare for tomorrow night's meeting, mining rates look to be the major talking point of the night. One elected member believes the rates shouldn't be transferred onto residents and businesses who can't afford them.
Item number 3 of Council's monthly meeting agenda is one Councillor Tom Kennedy is worried about. Tomorrow night, councillors will vote on whether Council adopts the Draft Operational Plan 2018-19 and all it entails, including the annual transfer of 1% of mine rates to businesses and ratepayers.
We have a high percentage of low-income earners. We have a high percentage of pensioner incomes in the city, so we should be doing all we can to make sure that it's equitable across the board.
The transfer is part of a fail-safe council adopted in the possibility of a downturn in mining. Mr Kennedy says the local mines are not pushing for the rate changes, it's council wanting to put itself in a better financial position. The plan also includes changes to operating hours for the Regional Art Gallery, the Mineral Museum and the Library. Under the plan, the gallery would close Mondays, would be open 36 hours a week in peak period, 30 hours a week across Christmas and New Year's, and 42 hours a week for school holidays. The Mineral Museum would see similar changes but closed on Sundays, the same for the library.
At the moment, it's not going to reduce staff numbers, but eventually councillors will ask, if it's only open 30 hours, why we employ an X amount of people there.
Council says introducing seasonal hours will link the gallery and museum with the Tourist Information Centre, which opens similar hours to accommodate tourists. It says staff will then have the chance to manage the collections and complete planning work and maintenance.
There's better ways at saving money or making money than reducing services.
Patrick Reinke, Southern Cross News.
The Whyalla Music Association will be this year's recipient of proceeds from the annual YTAP Charity Ball. Members say they'll use the funds to invest in new equipment that'll help prepare the next generation of musicians for live performances.
The Whyalla Music Association has one key aim, helping budding musicians get ready for live gigs. Notable members include Jack Sperling and Emily Rawlings, who have become local sensations. But a lack of permanent equipment has been a big issue.
At the present, we're sort of bogged down with other things, do better things rather than lugging gear in and setting it up.
That's set to change thanks to Whyalla's YTAP group. It's selected the association as this year's charity partner for its annual ball, where funds are raised for local groups. The association says it'll purchase permanent gear, which will allow it to expand its offerings.
Provide more time to actually mentor and be able to provide workshops and things on state-of-the-art equipment.
YTAP's Kira Kennedy says the group's plans to invest more time in youth has hit the right notes.
They were encouraging confident young adults in the Whyalla community because that's what we need in Whyalla. We just need that confidence of our young adults.
The new gear has been welcomed by members Blake Brome and Bree Ryan. The two promising musicians say having their own gear will increase the amount of time they have to learn the craft.
Yes, definitely, I'd love it. I think all of us would.
The less time we spend setting up and the more time we actually have playing and learning, I reckon the better.
John Hunt, Southern Cross News.
After the break, the Malka Aboriginal Art Prize exhibition opens its doors in Port Augusta. That's next. The Port Augusta Cultural Centre has opened its doors to a wide array of Indigenous creations for the Malka Art Exhibit. This year saw a record number of entries, with many artists using new and innovative ways to tell their stories.
It's the precision of every mark and the detail of every colour that's synonymous with Indigenous art. For the 2018 Malka Aboriginal Art Prize, all those talents are on display by new and established artists. The exhibit has 72 entries from locations all around the state, the biggest since it began in 2010.
You know, it's just getting bigger and bigger each year and more popular, which is great, and it's really encouraging participation in our communities.
26 of those entries are from artists in the Port Augusta region.
There are so many talented artists in our communities, and it's great that they all participate in the exhibition.
Holding a big representation in the exhibit is Carlton School, who collectively entered its works based around self-portraits and emotions.
They're just sort of saying who they are, how they're feeling.
There is a big sense of innovation in this year's event, with many artists moving away from common methods of expression, like oil on canvas, into new directions, like woodwork, sculptures, and even mirror engravings.
The picture's actually engraved into the glass, which makes it unusual, as I call it, the New Age Aboriginal artwork.
Officials are urging the community to visit the Cultural Centre and see the fantastic work of the region's talented Aboriginal artists.
Each piece is really important and significant to each individual. They each tell a story.
Garth Burley, Southern Cross News.
To local sport now, and there were some high-scoring games in both Port Lincoln and Broken Hill Soccer over the weekend. Patrick Reinke joins us now, and there were two very different results in the Silver City, Patrick.
Yeah, Fraser, there was a one-sided victory and a tight draw on Sunday here at the O'Neill Soccer Complex, and in Port Lincoln it was even more entertaining. Starting in Broken Hill though, and Alma and Celtic could not be separated at the end of the 90, both sides finding the back of the net twice for a 2-2 tie. West flexed their muscles against an undermanned St Joe's side, winning 6-1. Alejandro Voicest was a handful for the St Joe's defenders, scoring 4 goals in a fantastic performance. But he wasn't the only player to score 4 individual goals. Bronte John led the way in the ladies' matches as Alma downed Celtic. St Joe's also turned the tables on West, beating them 5-0. And good luck to all teams playing in the finals of Broken Hill's Knockout Cup tomorrow night. To Port Lincoln and Lincoln City Raiders also had a 5-0 win over Lincoln Knights. Lane Pennington continued his run of good form, scoring a hat-trick. In the other game, Seacole Masters found themselves down twice in their high-scoring match against South Coast, but managed to overcome the challenge to win 6-4, with Jackson Jamison slotting 3 goals. To Broken Hill Winter Tennis, where the teams are World Cup sides. Belgium had an easy night over Brazil, winning 4 sets 35 to 2 sets 31. Josh Niaros having a good night on the court in that game. Germany got past Spain comfortably, but France had to work hard to beat Argentina by just 1 game. Well done to Claire Williams for winning all 3 of her sets. There was only 1 game in the Outback Rugby League on Sunday, and it was too close to call. Luke Neal managed to score a try in the dying moments to tie the game against the Wilcannia Boomerangs, but Dwayne Morgan couldn't convert and it finished 18 apiece. Finishing with some netball, and in Port Lincoln, Warnella Rangers beat St Mary's by 16 goals, Boston defeated Imperials by 10, and Wayback continued their undefeated run with an easy win over Souths. To Whyalla, and it was wins to Warriors and Kiwi, and finishing in the Silver City, congratulations to the NAB Stars on beating St Joe's in the A-grade grand final last week. Both sides played well, but in the end, NAB Stars just got the upper hand to win by 11 goals. So Fraser, another big weekend of local sport done and dusted, and it doesn't look like things are slowing down anytime soon. And if you want your sports results on Southern Cross News, send them through to localsport@sca.com.au.
Patrick Reinke there. We'll stay with us after the break. We'll have all the local weather details with Amy. And it was another fine winter's day around the Gulf, Amy.
It sure was, Fraser, and it's looking like those fine conditions will be sticking around. All the details are up next. Welcome back. A sunny day in Port Augusta and Whyalla today, with temperatures sitting in the mid-teens. A cooler and rainy day in Broken Hill with a high of 10 degrees. Port Lincoln reached a top of 14, while Adelaide also experienced a finer day. On the satellite, cloud over eastern parts of the state is only bringing the odd spot of rain. Low cloud over southeastern parts with onshore winds are also causing a few showers, while skies are clearer in the west under a ridge of high pressure. If you're out on and about on the waters tomorrow, southerly winds will shift southwesterly up to 10 knots, with seas staying relatively calm and reaching 1 metre. The sun will rise at 7:25, while sunset is at 5:19. It's time to rug up with chilly overnight temperatures. However, the fine conditions will extend into tomorrow, with maximum sitting in the low to mid-teens. 15 the top in Port Augusta and Port Lincoln. Coffin Bay will only be a couple of degrees below, while Clare will get down to 0 overnight before reaching a sunny 11 degrees. Looking towards the weekend, and Port Lincoln may see some showers in the coming days and into our first day off. However, maximums will sit around 15. Possible showers in Cleve will clear by Saturday, with Woodner experiencing similar conditions and a cloudy 16 to start the weekend. Showers will also clear in Whyalla for a mostly sunny Saturday. Port Augusta can expect a run of lovely days leading up into the weekend with a high of 16. Meanwhile, Kadina may see some showers late into the week that will extend into Saturday. Port Perry will find up to 15 degrees on Saturday after the chance of some light showers on Friday. Temperatures in Clare are going to sit between 11 and 12 degrees over the next few days. And despite the cooler weather, Broken Hill can expect a run of mostly sunny days. So Fraser, while some parts may see some showers later in the week, it's looking like a mostly sunny start to the weekend.
Thank you, Amy. A look at tonight's top stories now. South Australia's biggest solar project and battery storage facility near Robertstown in the mid-north has been given the green light. Hundreds of jobs are set to be created throughout the construction process, with stage 1 of the facility expected to power up to 90,000 homes. After 20 years, 3 court battles and millions of dollars, the Bungala people of the Eyre Peninsula will receive their native title at a ceremony tomorrow. Lawyers representing the group say it'll be an emotional day as the first owners of the land finally get due recognition. And the Port Augusta Cultural Centre has opened its doors to a wide array of Indigenous creations for the Malka Art Exhibit. This year saw a record number of entries, with many artists using new and innovative ways to tell their stories. And that's all from the newsroom this Tuesday. Thanks for your company. Enjoy the rest of your evening. Good night.